folks, it is Kenny with Just the Right Angle, here to you live on Rumble with live stream. Also getting ready to do Podbean, trying to get Podbean working. Looks like we got sound going right through there. And a fair amount to talk about. Folks, you can also check me out on Podbean, Just the Right Angle. This will also become a recording on YouTube, where you can see this as well. Oh my goodness. First, I just want to play this while I share this broadcast with other folks. This is from the Democrat convention of last night. They had several speakers. If you've watched the Democrats before, you know they have a standard line. They claim to work for the poor. They claim to be the arbiters of what it is and isn't racism. So I'm just going to play from old Sleepy Joe here.
Decision overturning Roe v. Wade that you heard earlier tonight. The United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, women
Hey, Facts Porcupine
not
Podcast.
Not without electoral or political power. No kidding.
What you put?
Here, I'll play it again just for fun.
Decision overturning Roe v. Wade that you heard earlier tonight. The United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, women are not without electoral or political power. No kidding.
What you put?
Decision over.
All right, folks. Yep, that's who the Democrats and Rhino Republicans put into office for 3.5 years. That guy, Sleepy Joe. For those who may not have been paying attention, Sleepy Joe Biden has been removed as the Democrat nominee and has been replaced with a lady who couldn't even get one delegate during the primary election, Kamala Harris. And folks, are pretty much the same thing, okay? It's basically an empty suit who does whatever Soros in the UN and BlackRock and Vanguard tell him to do. That's basically who you're getting. And not a nice way to say that. That's who they're beholden to. And what they'll do is what they're doing in England right now, which is in Europe, which is allow massive amounts of illegal aliens to enter the country, literally allow them to murder and enslave the population. And anybody who even voices an effort against it will be subject to arrest. And it's the same thing, actually, the founders of this nation went through. A lot of people don't know this, but one of the grievances over the founding of this nation wasn't just over taxes. It was the way that oftentimes what they call savages and Native Americans were able to constantly attack colonies. Yeah, some of y'all may remember a few years ago, Facebook would not allow the Declaration of Independence to be posted. It called it hate speech, and because it had the term savages. That was because one of the things that was happening was Indians were constantly raiding American colonies, and they were doing the same thing that often happens. They would rape and murder, enslave. And meanwhile, instead of the British Army, protecting those areas, protecting those borders, they were simply allowing it to happen, in part because England was too busy fighting off other wars. But also they didn't care. And eventually it was enough that the people had enough, and That was one of the reasons why a lot of people went to war and were willing to face the most powerful nation in the world. What we're dealing with now is a similar situation with our southern border, where every day we lose 25 Americans a day. This was a study done by Congressman Steve from, I think his name is Smith from Iowa. Years ago, he did this study that we lose 25 Americans a day because illegals are allowed to cross over, most of which is not even by deliberate crime, it's by drunk driving accidents. But dead's just as dead. And the sad thing is again, we have Democrats Party along with what we call a Republican in name only consultant class that are running the party and allowing this to happen. The good news is more and more people are standing up and saying no. And that's mainly what I want to talk about today. Okay, the Democrat Party, as far as I can tell, is gone. It's completely taken over by a communist, rabid psychopaths. The guy they have now, Tim Walz, he was having the police paintball people who got out of their house during the COVID mandates. He established his own Gestapo hotline to rat out people if they were violating COVID guidelines. And as we know, COVID was established for the sole purpose of taking away our freedoms. It was made and released the main goal of taking away our freedoms here in the United States of America and across the world. And they launched, and in many ways they succeeded. And of course, a lot of them are for this population reduction. A lot of them are for this type of stuff where you want to reduce the number of, I guess, people that you can't control or don't want. And sadly, they don't care if a bunch of athletes or actors or actresses die suddenly. You can't help but notice that in these vaccinations, none of the hardly any government officials passed away. That's because they probably got sugar water. Matter of fact, we actually had a challenge. I know that Steve Finnegan of 102.9 KRN actually offered a challenge Asa Hutchinson to get another updated booster, but at a place of his choosing. And Asa Hutchinson absolutely refused. And we know the real reason why, because when you see a politician getting a COVID shot, it was probably just sugar water. And now the same kind of thing is happening again. They're trying to bring it back. We have monkeypox, one of the many tactics that the globalists are trying to do to us, but it's not working. I think most people are going, nah, we're not buying it anymore. But we have, I want to say, the bad news is they're still going to try all kinds of other things, and most likely there'll be an attempt to steal the elections, and that's part of, again, what I want to talk about. Here in the state, well, across the nation, there is an effort to push for what's known as paper ballots. These are a system to where ballots are made, done, and counted. You're actually given a ballot that you can see, you can vote, you check or mark who you want voted for, and you can see who you voted for. It's not put into some system that gives you a barcode. And those ballots are then hand counted. Well, sadly, there's been an opposition to this. And I'm just sharing this out via group, sharing this broadcast out for those who are wondering. Now, I myself gathered signatures for this paper ballot initiative in a few counties. There was first an effort to try to put this in the state of Arkansas, and that failed. It was blocked mainly by the Attorney General. And so because of that, concerned citizens who wanted their elections to be secure instead of giving up, decided to gather signatures in a few counties that have paper ballots. Well, to try to get onto the count that had the ability for that county to vote to switch to paper ballots. Now, the effort was opposed by what we call the GOP establishment, and among them are county clerks. And this is one story that I'm sharing right now. It's a paper ballot petition rejected by county clerks, cites Arkansas law. Saline County Clerk Doug Curtis rejected an initiative petition for hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots ordinance of 2024 on August 16th. People have been gathering signatures for this, by the way, all summer, and they have to go to this office in order to be able to be allowed to gather signatures. So why this clown didn't have a problem with it back then, I don't know. He claims in a letter addressed to Justice of the Peace-elect Stephanie Johnson and Attorney Clint Lancaster, Curtis says the petitioners failed to obtain a minimum number of required signatures because a large number of signatures were collected by out-of-state canvassers. And by the way, there's no law against this. There's no law against out-of-state canvassers. As a matter of fact, the ballot initiatives on a statewide level that are done, were done with out-of-state canvassers. And notice another thing, he doesn't actually say how much. And as a matter of fact, I don't even think he cites the law in this story. I just researched this story before starting this broadcast, but I do not believe he has even bothered to see how many of these signatures were actually out of state. And so he says he finds it particularly alarming the effort to obscure the sworn verification statements of 18 out-of-state canvassers to conceal their state residence with no indication when the name was changed clear was made or if the changes made by individual made the sworn statement. I don't know. There's no evidence of anyone obscuring any verification statements. He also said the petition was insufficient he found the ballot title and the text to multiple inaccuracies and inconsistencies that can mislead and confuse voters, but he never gives a specific. So number one, this coward, if he had a problem with the title, should have said something before he went out and gathered signatures. Number two, he should be specific. So when you don't see specifics, when you see this kind of accusation, that's a large sign that you know that you're being lied to. When they make a claim and they don't be specific. Like, for instance, when we say that Arkansas primary elections are closed based upon the vote of the Arkansas Republican Party State Convention, we can cite the rule that says that. We can cite the multiple rules that were violated by the Arkansas Republican Party Executive Committee. But this guy doesn't bother to cite that. He doesn't cite page. He doesn't cite the specific. And now he claims that the quorum court is determined the method by which voting should be conducted. That's a lie as well. And it turns out that there's a group called ES&S that is mainly running the election machines. They make a lot of money using the election machines, and they've been doing a lot of lobbying. They blocked any efforts by the states to try to go to hand-marked paper ballots, and now they're affecting a lot of the county politics. Oddly enough, ES&S, by the way, is based in Nebraska. So when this guy is complaining about out-of-state people, he doesn't bother with the fact that the voting machines are from out of state. Also, I have on video the fact that they're assembled in the Philippines, and I know the power cord for the voting machines is made in China. And yours truly actually has that on video. There's a group called the SBEC, and you can see the story on the Saline Courier. But apparently there has been some breaking news regarding this. I actually heard about this earlier this morning. Apparently there is some court case that states that there has been a recent victory in terms of paper ballots. If I can get this down, share this tab instead. This is from Colonel Conrad Reynolds, who's leading the effort in Arkansas to do paper ballots. 9 counties gathered enough signatures to allow a vote in November for paper ballots. But the Republicans, and I should say it's actually the Republican leadership, have been fighting against it. Most Republicans actually are for this. Most people are for this. Most Democrats and independents are too. Just now, a judge has ruled that the clerks cannot block the initiative to move away from voting computers from being on the November ballots. And you can still lobby county judges and clerks and JPs to push for hand-marked paper ballots because, again, a county can pass this if they want to. Searcy County did so and then did a paper ballot election, the last election, and it did well. The Cleveland County initially did put an effort to push for paper ballots, but then rescinded that after a law was passed that would have punished them financially for doing so. So this fight is going on, but there's apparently a big win in the court case. I don't see the actual court case. I just see this logo. I'm sure but I have heard about it. But apparently the effort to have paper ballots on the ballot for November in these 9 counties is succeeded. Saline County was one of those counties. Again, I wore this shirt and gathered signatures to have that done. And we need paper ballots. We need to get away from the voting machines because the voting machines can easily be hacked. They can easily be manipulated. The audits are completely useless because the audits are only under certain restrictions. You're only allowed to audit in a certain way. You can't take apart the machine. You can't reprogram it. You can't attach a Wi-Fi thing to it. You can't use a USB drive to see if there's a way to enter the machine. There's no way to do it. You can't verify the laptops they use when they work on these machines can be can be dealt with. And I get some texts every once in a while that are updates on what's going on. But yeah, Colonel Conrad Reynolds' group has been working hard on this, and it looks like they have a victory. If you want to see more about this issue, you can visit the Arkansas Voter Integrity Initiative right here, arkansasvii.org. I'll put their link on the chat just so you can visit them. And this is good because we need to kick out as many. We need election integrity because I'm at the belief that the Democrats, they didn't win the last election, and I don't think they've lost. I don't think they've won elections for some time. I think they've mainly been in power because of election fraud. For instance, in Florida, the Republicans and Democrats used to fight over that. Florida 2000, if you recall that, that's actually where they got rid of the mechanical voting machines, which up for decades worked very well. Pull the lever was actually an election slogan. You pull a lever for this or that person or agenda. And after Florida 2000 with the hanging chads, they, instead of just getting rid of those machines, got rid of all mechanical machines and went to electronic. And I think that was an effort where they threw up the baby with the bathwater on purpose to put us onto the electronic voting machines that could be easily manipulated. And again, any election can be stolen. Yes, in the times of paper ballots, they were able to stuff the ballot, but you had to be in person to do it. With electronic voting machines, theft of elections can occur with a few keystrokes. A guy from China working for ACE's buddy, Chairman Xu, or whoever's working for these crypto mining facilities can easily, just with a few keystrokes, manipulate an election. Either pre-program the machine before an election or program it during the day of, which again makes an audit useless. But folks, and I've posted this on here for all to see, just reposting here. Again, Arkansas Voter Integrity Initiative. I've said this before, Democrats are on the run. And I want to go circle back to what I was talking about earlier. And this is one example here. This is David Ray's opponent. This is July 15th. the Democrat Party is in Arkansas is falling apart. This is their candidate for state rep. And it says here, this was a while ago, less than an hour after President was almost assassinated. My opponent's first reaction was to insinuate that it was a staged hoax. Yeah, that's the kind of guy they're running for state rep, and he's still there. As far as I know, I actually challenged this guy. And you have here from Snarky Media. And this guy himself doubles down. He doesn't apologize for this. There he is, Kawami Abdul-Bey, and he is a candidate for state representative. It turns out another Democrat, and I couldn't find him in time, but I know that there was another candidate for state rep who actually dropped out of the race altogether. He was, I don't even know the reason for him leaving, but I do know that they're down. I don't even think they'll be able to win back, even stop the supermajority that's in the state of Arkansas. Republicans currently have what we call supermajorities, meaning we have 3/4 of the Arkansas House and the Arkansas Senate. I don't even think Democrats will be able to unseat that. So it is at this point pointless to vote for a Democrat. I mean, all you're going to do is get more of this guy right here. Oh, wait, no, it's Joe Biden. Here we go. Yeah, all you're going to do is get more of this guy. Sleepy Joe. And why it's not playing, I don't know. Nope. I screwed it. Sorry about that. And why it's not playing, I don't know. But anyway, you get the idea. That's all you're going to. That's why replacing Kamala is not that big a deal, because they're pretty much the same. If Kamala were to pass away from, and see, this is where he was a month ago. I'm staying in the race because it's the same thing. They're going to do the same thing, ruin the economy. Oddly enough, during their nomination, they bragged about how wonderful the economy was doing. Anybody who's bothered to shop for groceries or gas can tell that the economy's not doing well. But then they want to have this other message of we want to be new. We want something different. You know, we want to almost hope and change. And this hashtag was made possible, more popular as communism. That's what we're getting. And you can see all these older posts, CNN, food shortages, food hoarding, and black market and groceries. That's what you're getting. You're just getting another communist. Price controls. You saw what she did with the border. She's just like Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders in terms of her policy. It's straight up communism. Your rights taken away, government officials living like kings while people starve. And of course, a criminal element of black market. That's what you're going to get. And the sad thing is of course, you may not get it, but your kids will. If we don't get A, Donald Trump in office, and B, more Republicans that want to fight for conservative values, instead of just, trying to sabotage things like paper ballots or allow what's going on in Fort Smith, where they're having some 15-minute city they're trying to do there. And there's some Republicans that signed on to that because the Arkansas Association of Counties and the Municipal League, the worthless organizations that are responsible for Arkansas being dead last for decades, regardless of which party is in the state legislature, are trying to push for this UN agenda called 15-minute cities. They're doing it in Fort Smith and probably other cities as well. I fought against it in North Little Rock years ago with Pat Hayes and what they called ICLEI. And by the way, that's most likely also part of the Little Rock sales tax. When they say, infrastructure, millions of dollars is supposed to go to these parks and these, what they call quality of life. At the same time, they're bankrupting mom and pop stores. But folks, back to some good news. And I wanted to briefly brag about this. First, September 7th. Well, this is some good news coming up. Arkansas's 1st and 2nd district will have MTG. Not Michelle. Oh, my goodness. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is supposed to be speaking September 7th at the Arkansas 1st and 2nd district. Let me see if I can find this meeting. I've posted it before. Here's on District 1 AR should have it. And even if they don't, it should have a, and it's not coming up. Why is it not coming up? Sorry about that. Well, folks, it is meeting September 7th. It will be the Arkansas. It will be in Cabot. And it's supposed to be a great event. Actually, Matt Gaetz was our last guest when we had it in Little Rock, the Embassy Suites. Here's who we had last month. It was Carrie Lake. And here's a little bit of there. This is at the same location. And that's 41 minutes. So I'm actually off over here to the corner. I actually did some highlights of this. And of course, the Democrats are meeting there too. They're still around, but anyway, it's meeting September 7th. And I wanted to, Matt Gaetz apparently had a primary yesterday, and he was having to face what we call Kevin McCarthy, what we call Rhino Consultant, who was backed by Rhino Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Now, I don't know how much he was outspent, but I know that there was a lot of money poured in this race from Kevin McCarthy. And almost in almost every case, the conservatives outspent by what we call the Rhino. Here, I want to share this tab and show this from Matt Gaetz.
Gaetz beating his opponent, Aaron Dimmick, in the primary, now officially becoming the Republican candidate for Florida's District 1 House seat. We were able to catch up with Gaetz just moments after the announcement and asked him what the win means and why he believes most of Northwest Florida voted for him.
I think people really want to see bold, effective leadership. They don't want somebody who's just going to go up there and go along to get along when our nation is really in trouble. I told voters, if you just want somebody to advance the status quo, send somebody else. I want to change that place because I fear if we do not, we could lose the country.
Gaetz.
He's right. And here's another video. To be excommunicated from the Republican Party. He spent $3 million valuable dollars trying to unseat Matt Gaetz. $3 million wasted in a primary that he shouldn't even be able to spend money in. Here,
it's traditional in moments like these with margins of victory like this that you hear from your opponents. And I have not yet heard from Aaron Dimmick or Kevin McCarthy this evening. Kevin McCarthy spent $3 million in this race, not attacking my votes or my work on your behalf, but just simply trying to attack my character. $3 million. 2 years ago, I got 70% of the vote. And tonight, it looks like we're getting 73% of the vote. So Kevin, if you're watching, spend a little more next time and we'll get to 80.
So there it is, $3 million wasted by this rhino, Kevin McCarthy, that could have been spent, unseating a Democrat. That could have been spent paying county chairs and other local officials who have volunteered years of their time. Money that could have been spent on poll workers, on poll watchers, on trackers of Democrat candidates. No, he wasted it. No, Kevin McCarthy wasted it on trying to unseat Matt Gaetz. Do not volunteer for a Republican candidate or Republican Party unless you know who they are. Arkansas's Republican Party has opened up a bunch of victory offices across the state. But honestly, you need to ask, who are they actually helping? Because ask who their campaign manager is. Ask who they're consulting with. If they don't give an answer, or they say, or you find out that it's Impact Management or Chris Caldwell, do not volunteer for them because you're being used. Chris Caldwell already wasted the efforts of people and declined to sign and trying to stop the abortion amendment. That campaign was an absolute fraud. He raised nearly $350,000 and then spent it all on advertising and consultants, almost every bit of it. I've in previous videos, you can see about that. The problem is these rhinos want to use you. They want to use you for free money, and they want you to donate your time and money, and of course donate your vote. But they don't want you to have any seat of power. That's why they're trying to sabotage what we did at the Arkansas State Convention. That's why they're trying to sabotage with paper ballots, because rigging the election isn't just done by Democrats. There are Republicans that'll do it too. And that's why they tried to they sabotaged Trump's many efforts. Donald Trump marketed himself as being different from these two, from not just a Democrat machine, but also the rhino machine, from the Kevin McCarthys, from the Liz Cheneys, from the Joseph Woods, the Chris Caldwells, the Randy Zooks, the globalist pretend Republicans that slam the door in the face of conservatives every day. And he has a decent record of fighting against that. That's right, Facts Porcupine Podcast. It's a guy on Podbean. You can't see him. You're looking at me on Rumble. But we're winning. Matt Gaetz just showed it. We have it here in Arkansas. We have some victories. We defeated who was it? James Sturch, the guy who sabotaged the effort to get rid of special election tax increases, where these city and county governments would sneak in tax increases, sometimes on Valentine's Day or a few days before Christmas, knowing full well that most people wouldn't vote. We voted him out. John Cooper, who was a state senator in Jonesboro, Craighead County area, he was the deciding vote on the funding for Obamacare, and then he sabotaged the stand your ground law that we attempted years ago on the behest of Asa Hutchinson, a Chinese operative who needs to be deported to the communist China for his efforts. Conservatives voted him out and replaced him with Dan Sullivan. And he had the money, the backing of the Chamber of Commerce and the powers that be, but we beat him. So your efforts do make a difference. I had the door slam in my face. The convention before the last one, I had the police sicked on me multiple times. With me, along with 70 other Pulaski County delegates, were illegally kept out of the convention. We were treated like garbage, but we persevered and we won. And we're going to win again. We just had to get the word out. We had to bypass the powers that be, bypass the media, because the media is in on it too. I mean, here's this video right here of KRK4 and Dimgaz being allowed to repeat the narrative. I don't even have to play it for you because you've seen it before. That the false narrative that Arkansas primaries are open. They're not. The convention closed them. And I wish Samantha Boyd and Michael Wickline and other of those who run the press would bother to look at the laws, just like they would if Star City were to suddenly declare the income tax has been eliminated, or if the city of Little Rock were to declare that Arkansas Learns has now been voided. You wouldn't have Nick Horton going on saying, well, it looks like it's the end. So sad for Arkansas Learns. No, he would look at the law and he would cite where it says that the Arkansas legislature makes the decisions on things like that. But again, we get the word out. We let people know what's going on, and we find a way to get them involved. Get involved with your county committees. There's actually several. There was Lawrence County actually had one yesterday. And from what I understand, there was a fight regarding that the county chair resigned and that there was an effort to get rid of somebody else. But that effort failed, I believe. And I don't know all the details of that. There is next Monday a meeting by the Saline County GOP regarding a lot of issues there. And then the Faulkner County Republican committee is also meeting this coming Monday. There has several committees have passed resolutions supporting the convention. Eventually, there's probably going to be some effort to implement the closed primary system, and those county committees will eventually be working on that. And of course, elections are coming up, as mentioned before. There's a lot of Democrats in city county positions that need to be ousted. So your county committees can help in that. If you can't spend time with them, donate money, and let others know what's going on. Other than that, that's about it. Again, find me at Just the Right Angle on Rumble and Podbean, where you can listen to this or watch it at your own convenience. Of course, on Facebook. I also do videography work on the side, political or non-political. If you need something filmed or live streamed, let me know. And I am also working on an effort to make sure that people vote down the Little Rock sales tax increase. Other than that, you all have a great day.